Evening, welcome. I now call to order our regular scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting for August 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening, enjoying this weather outside. That was a tease of fall, but it's not anywhere close to fall, so I'm not sure how long it'll stick around for that. Our first order of business tonight is our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Jay Arginal to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance tonight, and you'll be learning more about him here shortly. And Commissioner Charlie Adcock to lead us in our invocation. Hold on one second, Jay. And Commissioner Charlie Adcock to lead us in our invocation. If you would, please stand.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this evening that we are able to gather and discuss town business. We just thank you for blessing us to be in such a wonderful community. Thank you for the cooler temperatures, and just give this board wisdom tonight to make good decisions for our town. Thank you for all the folks that are here to participate with us tonight. And Lord, we just, again, thank you for all of our blessings. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business tonight is our meeting protocol. At this time, I ask Town Manager Mitchell to review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting. Adam, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board. It's good to be with you tonight. Tonight's Town Board meeting is both in person and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and 7 scheduled public hearings. The public is invited to comment in person. When it is the appropriate time, Mayor Massengill will call on those wishing to address the Town Board. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the Town Board during the public comment period should provide your name and address on the green registration sheet by the podium prior to the public comment period beginning. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the Town Board during a scheduled public hearing should provide your name and address on the white registration sheet by the podium. We ask all those wishing to address the Town Board either during the public comment period or a scheduled public hearing to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all that wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. To be respectful of those that may have different views on matters addressed by the Town Board, we ask all in attendance to respect the decorum of the meeting by refraining from clapping, making loud noises, and generally showing support or displeasure for comments made during the public comment period or public hearings. Police Chief Smith will be asked to escort from the boardroom anyone not respecting the process, and it is the discretion of the mayor as the presiding officer of the meeting to continue the public comment and or public hearing periods if the meeting protocol was not followed. And this concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Manager. Next item of business is the approval of the minutes from the July 14, 2025 Town Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. Any changes or additions to the minutes? If not, we entertain a motion.
Mayor Massengill, I move that we approve the minutes as printed and distributed.
We have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First presentation tonight is recognition of Jay Arginal, and more information about the agenda item will be presented by Arts Director Daly.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Managers. It's very nice to be here with you tonight. Hang on to that. It's my pleasure tonight. Actually, it's been about just over a month since I had the pleasure of introducing you all to Fuquay-Varina Art Center's second-year dance team. Tonight, I come to introduce you to a member of the dance team, Jay Arginal. Now, Jay has done some pretty significant things in the last 5.5 weeks since I spoke to you last. Jay was invited to compete on the in the national competition in the minis division. That is dancers 8 to 10 years old. He was in Orlando for a bit of time. He's done some competitive dancing. We had a watch party at the Art Center. Friends and family came to actually watch him do a competitive dance. The competition went from thousands of students to hundreds to 10, and Jay is one of the top 10. And then that happened on a Tuesday, as I recall. Yeah. And then between Tuesday and Saturday, Jay had a competitive solo, 7 different auditions, one in a specific genre of dance, and a number of workshops and classes. Now, each of those activities is scored independently, and then the scores are tallied. And at the end of all of that, on Saturday, Jay Arginal was named the national champ. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. So, Jay remains, I will just tell you briefly about Jay, some things that I find fascinating really quick. Jay came to us, to the Art Center, to work with us at the auditions for the 2023 Nutcracker, and he was cast in that community Nutcracker production, and then he has taken classes since then. That's how long he's been studying dance. Any ability that he had, either God-given, and also what he picked up from watching Dance Moms. So, talent and skill come together, and we make great art, and we have great athletes, and we combine those, and we have Jay Arginal. So let me take just a moment, if you don't mind. Jay had asked if he could say just a couple of things real quick. You good? Yes. Okay, speak right up, all the way up here. That's good.
Thank you, Mayor Massengill, for letting me speak. Thank you for the opportunity and support from the town of Fuquay. Their support has allowed me to grow as a dancer and a young man. Town support and town dance team is essential for kids, and I hope you continue to support the program. And thank you to my mom for her financial situation and always putting in the work for me. Thank you.
That was nothing. While the mayor's coming down, I'll just point out Annie Arginal is his mom back here with Tammy Davis, Ashley Avent, and Jordan Davis back here who support him on the dance team and his instructors. I'm going to go on over there with that.
So I got to spend some time with Jay this evening. I've met Jay before when he came here to our board meeting, and he's been here with his fellow dancers and really done a great job in our community. I've seen him at the Art Center dancing and doing a great job ever since the Nutcracker and all the good stuff you've been doing. So he wanted to come spend some time with me before our meeting tonight, and I felt so honored to have such a cool kid want to come hang out with me right here before our board meeting. So we spent time walking around Town Hall and in the mayor's office and talking to him. He asked me about what the mayor does, and I told him all the fun stuff that the mayor does. We didn't tell him, we talked about all the good stuff, fun stuff right there, and we talked about food that we love to eat too, and Hawaiian pizza is one of Jay's favorites right there. And I asked him, have you ever had Hawaiian pizza with a mushroom on it? And he said, I have, and he likes mushrooms on his Hawaiian pizza. And I said, that's pretty cool right there. So being able to get to spend some cool time with Jay, and he sat in the mayor's chair there, and I sat on the other side, and he had a good old time. We just enjoyed talking about what we like to do and all the fun things in our community and future plans and what he'd like to see happen and what we're working toward. And so I just felt so honored to spend some time with Jay and get to know Jay. But going to Florida and representing Fuquay-Varina and being such a great dancer right there, I mean, that is just something that we're so proud of. And you represented Fuquay-Varina so great, Jay. And everybody in this room here is so proud of you and so proud of what you've done. Feel honored that you came here to hang out with us tonight, too. And so I've got something for you, too. I gave you earlier a coloring book and a special Fuquay-Varina pencil, but I also have something very special here that I have. And this is my mayor's coin right here. And so I want you to have my mayor's coin. And this shows you right here on the back side our Fuquay Springs and Varina right here, and one of your very fellow friends at the Art Center that is an artist helped me make this coin right here, and so I wanted you to have that, and we're just so proud of you, everybody in this room right here. You're going to keep doing great things in Fuquay-Varina. Cool? You're the man. Next item of business tonight is a proclamation for National Farmers Market Week. You know, Fuquay-Varina as a community is known for its agricultural roots and the time period of what brought Fuquay-Varina up. And for a long time, it was very much a farming community here. Not only now today, we still farm some plants, but we also farm a lot of houses here in Fuquay-Varina too, a lot of people here. And a team of individuals do an incredible job with our growers market every single week. And the growers market meets right across the street here on Saturdays at the Chamber parking lot. And if you have not been there before, I strongly encourage you to go there and meet some of these vendors. You'll find some great local farmers that are showing off products and shopping. You can buy. It's not just a look now, you got to buy too. And great things to buy there. I found such a great amount of vegetables and crops there. There's some fresh meat that's often there, ribs, and they're known to do a great job. But Marge and her team have done an incredible job. Marge runs it. Marge, will you please stand up for everybody to see you and know you? This is Marge, and Dana is sitting right beside her, and they do an incredible job on the board right there. Marge's husband to Dana's left is here also, and so thank you all for supporting our growers market here in Fuquay-Varina. Thank you for what you do, Marge, and look forward to being there this Saturday also to recognize you there. But this is a proclamation I would like to read for everybody here to understand about the week of Farmers Market Week, and our very own one here in Fuquay-Varina. Whereas the town of Fuquay-Varina recognizes the vital role of local farmers in providing access to fresh, healthy food through the Fuquay-Varina Growers Market, and whereas the market strengthens our community by supporting local agriculture, fostering economic growth, and connecting residents with nutritious food options. And whereas the Fuquay-Varina Growers Market consistently expands its community impact through programs like the SNAP Double Bucks program, summer meals for kids, and the mobile market. Whereas the market prioritizes community wellness with initiatives such as Kids Bike Safety Day, Farm to Pantry, and workshops focused on food and wellness for all ages. And whereas the Fuquay-Varina Growers Market is dedicated to fostering a healthy and connected town through community partnerships with organizations like the Fuquay-Varina Police Department and the Poe Center for Health Education. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Blake Massingill, Mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina, do hereby proclaim August 3rd through 9th, 2025 as Farmers Market Week, and commend the Fuquay-Varina Growers Market for its commitment to providing our community with fresh, local food and fostering a vibrant, healthy town. Thank you for your hard work, what you do. And I encourage anybody, if you haven't been there, please go there this Saturday. They'll be open for you. And so let's give this team a round of applause, please. Next item on our agenda is the public comment period. At this time, the town clerk will call on individuals that are in attendance and have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. The public comment period is a time for the public to address the town board about any matter that is not the subject of a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, or that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Teresa, do you have anybody signed up?
Yes, we have 5. Robert, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, who lives at 1717 Quail Grove. Harris? Okay.
Robert, welcome.
Thank you.
Come on up, sir.
I'm not going to speak at this time.
Are you going to speak at the public hearing? Okay. Is all 3 of you going
If
to
there's an
speak? Okay, so then Robert Stevenson?
Yeah, I signed those sheets.
Okay, so Rich? Are you going to speak at public? No. Okay. Emily Holloway?
Hi, I'm Emily Holloway, 312 Andrew Road, Fuquay-Varina. And actually, I was going to bring up that sidewalk thing again at Fuquay and Raleigh Street, but Mr. Matt Poling over here told me they're working on it, so I'm really happy about that, that the town is going to make working to get that intersection ADA accessible and hopefully with some crosswalks. I also wanted to bring up crosswalks at the intersection of Vance and Andrew Road and Aiken, South Aiken, but he said they can't because it's under the DOT. There's not connectors, it just is not available, but I appreciate that you've lowered the speed limit to 25 miles an hour as you come around that curve from Vance to Andrew. People are still speeding, it's still a problem, and it's still dangerous to cross the street there, so I don't know if anything can be done about that, but we could use a crosswalk. Maybe if he said that that's not possible, but from Vance Street right there before it hits South Aiken and Andrew. Anyway, my other thing I would like to bring up, and I don't know if this is in the works, I was told they were going to be redoing the park in Falcon Park probably 2 years ago. They need sunshades on that playground equipment there. It just gets too hot, especially the last couple of weeks that we've had. The kids cannot go down the slides. The kids cannot play on it. It's just too hot, and I don't know what it would cost for the town to put sunshades over some of that equipment, but I think that would be a really beneficial thing in order to let the kids enjoy that equipment. So that's really all I have to say today. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Emily. Jonathan, if you want to raise your hand, Emily, so you know who Jonathan is right there. He'll be glad to provide you any kind of updates about our Parks and Rec facilities right there for you.
We have no one else.
Okay. Thank you. Moving to public hearings. Public hearings are a time for the petitioner to present his or her request and for the public to give input and voice their favor or opposition to the request. If you wish to speak and are physically in attendance, please step forward to the podium one at a time. Provide your name and address on the registration log at the podium and clearly state your name and address for the public record. We ask all those addressing the town board to please limit your comments to 3 minutes in order that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. First public hearing, item 7A, voluntary annexation petition. Gaurav Parajuli, Raleigh Smiles LLC, 834 Wilburn Road, ANX-2025-05. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pam, good evening.
Good evening. I'm supporting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approving an annexation ordinance extending the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina following a receipt of a petition for voluntary annexation of property located at 834 Wilburn Road, owned by Raleigh Smiles LLC. The 1.3 acre parcel is contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water is available to serve the property, and public sewer will be extended by the developer with development of the property. A fire flow test nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are also available. At the July 14th, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $118,720. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Raleigh Smiles LLC, ANX 2025-05, and to approve the declaration of annexation as presented and recommended. I am available for any questions.
I don't think there's any questions at this time. Well, public hearing. Thank you, Director Davison. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, so move.
We have a motion, we have a second. Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good job. Item 7B, voluntary annexation petition. Deborah H. Upchurch, Charles H. Upchurch, Kristen Kent Randall, Deborah Hughes Randall, Carrie V. Randall, Jonathan Randall, J. Rex Randall, Teresa J. Randall, Mark A. Randall, Donna R. Randall, Timothy R. Randall, and Sherry H. Randall. Director Davison, no Randalls left off, is it?
Hope not.
Okay. 0 Sunset Lake Road, a portion of 1500 Ballantyne Dairy Road, and 1528 and 1540, and a portion of 1521 Randall Farm Road. ANX-2025-06. More information agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
Thank you. I'm supporting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The 30.774 acres of land are contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are available to serve the property. A fire flow test nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are also available to serve the property. At the June 2nd, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $2,726,345. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Deborah H. Upchurch, Charles H. Upchurch, Christopher Kent Randall, Deborah Hughes Randall, Carrie V. Randall, Jonathan Randall, J. Rex Randall, Teresa J. Randall, Mark A. Randall, Donna R. Randall, Timothy D. Randall, and Sherry H. Randall, ANX 2025-06, as presented and recommended. I am available for any questions.
Not this time. Thank you, Director Davison. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? The hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? We can entertain a motion so moved unless somebody wants to read all the names out again.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7C, voluntary annexation petition, Donald Chesson, MBF Road, LLC, 8509 Fayetteville Road, ANX-2025-09. More information, about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
Thank you. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. This .831 acre parcel is non-contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are available to serve the property. A fire flow test nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are unavailable to serve the property, so a declaration to exclude services is attached. This annexation is part of an agreement with NCDOT for the construction of NC 540. The town of Fuquay-Varina granted an emergency agreement to provide water prior to annexation approval, as the property is served by a private well that, upon recent roadway development, has rendered the well off-premise and unsuitable for residential use. At the July 14, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the property being annexed is $208,124. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Donald Chesson, MBF Road, LLC, ANX 2025-09, and to approve the declaration of annexation as presented and recommended. I'm available with any questions.
Not at this time. Thank you, Director Davison. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved if desired.
So moved. Mayor Massingill.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7D, voluntary annexation petition, William Garcia, 8505 Fayetteville Road, ANX-2025-10. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents in the official records of the town. This .792 acre parcel is also non-contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are available to serve the property. Fire flow tests nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are also unavailable to serve this property, so a declaration to exclude services is attached. This annexation is also part of an agreement with NCDOT for the construction of NC 540. The town of Fuquay-Varina granted an emergency agreement to provide water prior to an annexation approval, as the property is served by a private well that, upon recent roadway development, rendered the well off-premise and unsuitable for residential use. At the July 14th, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public meeting for tonight's town board. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $215,787. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by William Garcia, ANX 2025-10, and to approve the declaration of annexation as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
Not this time. Thank you, Director Davidson. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the annexation ordinance as presented.
Second. We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7E, voluntary annexation petition, Glenn Futrell, Stevens Road Partners, LLC, 3799 Well Fleet Drive, ANX-2025-11. More information about agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davidson.
Thank you. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. This 10.039 acre parcel is non-contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are available to serve the property. The fire flow test nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are available to serve the property. At the July 14th, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $722,880. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Glenn Futrell, Stevens Road Partners, LLC, ANX 2025-11, as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
No questions at this time. All right. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Yes. If you'd like to come forward one at a time, please state your name and address for the public record, and you may speak. It's okay, you can do it.
My name is Randy Allison. I live at 7212 Kennebec Road, Willow Spring. And we just got a zoning thing last week, and it looks like the property is going to be annexed, I guess, or desired to be annexed into the city limits. We have concerns, and we don't know enough about this more than anything else, so opposition may or may not be the correct term, but my property, as well as several of these folks here, actually, we're in a natural drain, natural drain. I think that's what it's defined as on the Wake County thing, as well as on my survey. And then a lot of our properties also have flood hazard soils along in that area. And with that 10 acres coming in, I mean, and I don't have photographs of it, but there's a pretty much defined difference in elevation between where the stuff is going to come in and down where we're at. About maybe a year ago, some folks were actually back there on that property that's actually been sold, the 10 acres that y'all referenced. And they actually had, I think, there were hydrologists out there. I spoke to them briefly. They were doing soil tests and that sort of thing, as well as, and they were putting flags in different, maybe that was the marked location of the soil testing they were doing. I don't know anything about hydrology, but I do know that we've actually had problems in the past with water flow. I mean, at one point in time, we actually had a thing of water 20 feet wide. And sometimes it's not unusual to see 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet wide. And we're concerned, I mean, right now, you know, my property is, I bought it with knowing that it's flood hazard soils, but I don't want to be in a situation where it gets any worse. And Fuquay, I kind of did my limited research, I went to the North Carolina requirements for drainage and flood hazard soils. I went to the Wake County site, but evidently Fuquay has something too. And we just want to make sure that due diligence has been practiced in this to make sure that we're not going to actually have something that ends up being a liability for us in the future. Because, I mean, from what I understand too, if something happens later, it ends up being a civil thing. And I'd hate to have to spend my money basically going back and looking at something where something has been missed. I mean, like I said, I'm not a professional, I'm not a hydrologist, but I'm a professional engineer in the state of North Carolina. And like I said, we have concerns about this. And like I said, we're all limited on knowledge with respect to what, but like I said, there's an appreciable difference. And in order for them to level it out, there's a field way up and there's a high elevation that comes down. If they do anything like they did where the townhouses and condos are, they level it out. And if they end up doing that, what it's going to do in effect is create almost like a drop-off. And Diane Allen, matter of fact, she was the one that sold the property to the people that bought it. And she actually has a building on her property that will be down below that elevation. And it's actually on a concrete slab. So needless to say, if there's a problem with the water issues, it's going to come even into that building.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. I will address your comments after the public hearings as everybody's finished speaking. I will address your comments.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, very much. Would anyone else like to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? If there's anybody behind this gentleman, please come on forward and stand at the podium, please.
You talking to me?
If anybody else wants to speak behind you, ask them to come on up here so they'll be ready to go.
Anybody else here want to speak?
Well, sir, you may go ahead and speak.
I'll leave it all up to me.
There you go.
My name is Robert Stevenson. I'm from 7210 Kennebec, Willow Springs, and my property backs up to that wetlands that he just spoke about. It's just right beside Diane Allen's there. You can kind of see in that picture they got there, the green building on my house, or my lot is just right next to that. So that wetlands, when they were surveying it, about 2 feet of my property goes into that wetlands. And the question in my mind is number one, we don't have any idea what they're going to do in there, and whether it's going to be more of those townhouses or what's going in. You start putting in all the concrete and dirt and everything that are now absorbing the water. What's it going to do to us downstream for that? My other question is, I've only lived here for 2.5 years now, is why is this not being done at Willow Spring? Why Fuquay? All of our addresses are Willow Spring. Any answer for that? But those are my main concerns, is what's happening and how they're going to outline the board and so forth. So is there anybody here that has any info on that?
I'll address your concerns and be able to answer all your questions once the public hearing is closed, sir. I made notes on them and be glad to have those answers for you.
My name's Rick Rich, and I just got one question. The map that I got in the mail, I'm not really sure why I got it, but I need to know, are you actually annexing part of my property?
So I answer that question right now. No, nothing is being annexed other than this piece of property.
But is it being looked at being annexed? Because it looks like it's, by
So
the
if you
map, it's only a few feet, and if you are going to annex a few feet of my property.
No, sir.
does
So
that mean?
nobody can be annexed to Fuquay-Varina without their it's called a voluntary annexation. It's what's on this petition tonight. That means somebody that voluntarily owns their property calls
Okay.
Fuquay-Varina, files up paperwork, and says, I want you to annex my property. Outside of that, nothing else will be touched and will not be annexed into Fuquay-Varina. It's voluntary
Okey-dokey
annexation.
then.
You do not have to worry about that. Do we have anybody else?
Right over here.
No problem.
This is my thing, and I didn't know about this. I got my letter, but I didn't understand what my letter was about. But I am concerned because the talk of the neighborhood is all this extra water. I bought my house just over a year and a half ago here. I didn't know I had a swamp. In fact, I asked what the flags were in my backyard. It's swamp. As you can see, I don't grow. My grass sinks. I'm not a little girl, but it sinks. It's that wet there already. We really don't need any more runoff water if that's what's gonna happen. Because our yards are already, you cannot sit on my deck, it's always wet. It's that wet there already from the swamp. And I'm just putting my 2 cents in to say, please don't do it.
What's the address?
I too am a Willow Springs person.
Do we have anybody else that would like to speak tonight? Okay, the hearing's now closed. I'm going to go ahead and address some of these questions that were brought up in comments, and I'll have some staff come up to address them too. And hopefully, my goal was by the end of this, everybody will have an answer to the question that was asked of tonight. So first off, and Matt, you'll be coming up after I get done speaking. First off, this is an annexation hearing. All that we're deciding in Fuquay-Varina was annexation hearing. It's a voluntary annexation. Somebody voluntarily chose that they wanted to become in the corporate limits of Fuquay-Varina. And so what they did, they come here, and all we are deciding tonight is can Fuquay-Varina service that property, meaning we have water and or sewer available, and that we can service that property. Now, there'll be a different meeting that will have the zoning hearing, which will decide what is used at that property. The petitioner will come back and it'll talk about density. We don't consider that tonight. All that's being considered is would we allow that piece of property to be in the town limits of Fuquay-Varina where we could legally service it? And so that's where that question comes up right there. And so at a separate hearing is the zoning hearing when the property will be zoned. The question was, why is this in the town of Fuquay-Varina, not Willow Spring? Well, Willow Spring is not a town, believe it or not. Willow Spring is a post office, and the way it works here in Fuquay-Varina, we have Apex post offices, Raleigh, Fuquay, Willow Spring, and Holly Spring post offices that all service here. And all it means in your address is where does your mail come from on a post office at that point. And so Willow Spring, majority of Willow Spring, at one point one day when somebody voluntarily annexes, it would be voluntarily annexed into Fuquay-Varina, since Willow Spring is not a town right there, not an incorporated town. And so at that point, if somebody chooses to annex into Fuquay-Varina for water and or sewer services is where it's very, very common at. And that's when that may come up then. But as long as you want to be unincorporated and not in Fuquay-Varina, you don't have to. It's voluntarily, completely. And even this parcel or any other parcel that voluntary annexes into Fuquay-Varina, they'll still have Willow Spring in their address, because it's back to the post office that sends your mail out. Where does that mail come from right there? So that will not change. But in the future, when this project comes back for a zoning hearing on this property, then behind that is a subdivision plan. And that subdivision plan comes up here, and that has to meet all of the federal laws, state laws, and Fuquay-Varina ordinances. And Matt Poland, who's getting ready to come up here, can talk about some of that, but it takes into regard stormwater runoff, engineering, full design of it, everything there. And that's part of Matt's team and his department's job, is to verify that the plans that have been designed by professional engineers and stamped to meet all the town's ordinances and guidelines. And they review those plans, and then planning and hand with them inspects them and make sure they are according to. So, Matt, will you talk a little bit about how stormwater runoff is treated in today's developments versus developments that may have been built around there in the 80s or 90s?
Yes, sir. Good evening. So when a subdivision comes in and it meets a certain kind of density, we are required to actually have these stormwater control management devices. And so these devices allow for the capture of water. The water will attenuate quickly in the pond and then will slowly be discharged downstream where it was already discharging. So the point of these stormwater devices are to quickly capture the water and then slowly discharge the water back downstream.
And state law regulates that it must happen. You can't choose not to do it just because somebody doesn't want to do it. And then your job is to make sure it was installed correctly.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Any other comments or questions by board members?
Just a question for clarification.
Commissioner?
Mr. Mayor, are you saying that there will possibly be future protections that address the concerns we've heard as we go through the process as far as,
So we will, in the future, we will have a zoning hearing. Is that correct? Has this property been zoned yet? Is it in county zoning or in town zoning?
It has not been rezoned yet.
It's not been
It doesn't need to be.
It's, all right, so you ultimately have engineering plans that come up here, and those engineering plans will be able to address and verify that any concerns are met in regards to stormwater runoff.
So this property is zoned residential medium density, and they are doing a conventional subdivision of 10,000 square foot lots, minimum size. So this board has already approved the preliminary subdivision plan for this.
Correct.
They're actually on their second round of CDs right now, so the construction drawings are in the second round.
Correct, and that's when those drawings are being reviewed for stormwater runoff, and that stormwater runoff measures are implemented.
And if any of the neighbors are interested, the site plan for this subdivision is available on what's coming to Fuquay, so if you look at our GIS maps.
Okay, and conventional subdivision, let me repeat what you just said, conventional subdivision is single-family lots.
So this is a conventional subdivision of single-family detached lots, minimum lot size 10,000 square feet. So it will not be townhomes.
Not townhomes and condos that are adjacent to it.
That's next door, yeah.
Exactly, okay. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Anybody else, any questions or comments? For staff right there? Okay. This is in, sir, we did not interrupt this board discussion. Do not interrupt the meetings. Any other further comments or discussion by board members? If not, we can entertain, some kind of motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Glenn Futrell, Stevens Road Partners LLC, Annex 2025-11 as presented and recommended.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7F, voluntary annexation petition, Town of Fuquay-Varina and Town of Holly Springs, 6305 Duncan Cook Road, ANX-2025-12. More information about agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. This 5.785 acre parcel is non-contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are not currently available to serve the subject property. However, water will be extended as part of the development of the Sanford Conveyance Waterline Project and the water booster pump station. A fire flow model was conducted, resulting in adequate fire flow. As this is a non-residential site, town sanitation and recycling services are not available. At the July 14, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina General Statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $160,575. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by the town of Fuquay-Varina and town of Holly Springs, ANX 2025-12, as presented and recommended. I'm available if you have questions.
No questions yet. Thank you, Director Davison. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition?
Good evening. Michael Wagner, Public Utilities Director for the town of Fuquay-Varina, 134 North Main Street. I wanted to speak in support of the annexation. This is a pretty important piece of property for our booster pump station, our conveyance line coming from the city of Sanford's water treatment facility.
And you're in favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved or anything else? So moved. Well, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 7G, zoning map amendment. Nicole Johnson, Hazen and Sawyer, 6305 Duncan Cook Road, REZ-2025-06. More information will be presented by Planning Director Davis.
Last one tonight. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda abstract is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 5.785 acres located at 6305 Duncan Cook Road from the Wake County Residential 30 zoning district to the Residential Agricultural Conditional zoning district. The property is part of a parcel that will be the site of the future water booster pump station for the Sanford Conveyance Waterline Project. Public utility buildings and uses proposed by the town of Fuquay-Varina are allowed in all zoning districts. The town has included a use condition that the future use of the subject property is limited to those that serve a public purpose. The proposed use is consistent with the 2040 land use plan. At its regular meeting on July 21st, 2025, the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2025-06, a zoning map amendment for 6305 Duncan Cook Road from the Wake County Residential 30 zoning district to the Residential Agricultural Conditional zoning district, as it is reasonable in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available for any questions.
No question at this time. Thank you, Director Davison. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
Michael Wagner, Public Utilities Director for the town of Fuquay-Varina, 134 North Main Street. I want to speak in support of the rezoning for this piece of property. It's an imperative for our booster pump station operation.
Thank you, Director. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? Hearing is now closed. Moving to board discussion and pleasure of the board. Motion so moved, or any other motions?
Mr. Mayor, so moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mike, that much more closer for us getting our water projects online. Another step through the process. Thank you for your hard work on that. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. What's the board's pleasure on the items on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Administrative report, item 10A, Town of Fuquay-Varina Strategic Plan 2025 to 2029. More information about agenda item will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a little while coming, but tonight we have in front of you for your consideration the 2025 to 2029 strategic plan. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approval of the Town of Fuquay-Varina 2025 to 2029 strategic plan. If you'll recall, at the 2025 Town Board Strategic Planning Retreat, the Town Board received a report from management on the status of our previous plan, both including objectives and initiatives that are either in progress or have been completed. The Town Board and management discussed new objectives and initiatives to replace those accomplished over the past 5 years, which have been included in the proposed plan for 2025 to 2029. Any objective or initiative in the previous plan that is still in progress remains in the updated plan. So the plans were provided to you for your review and available to the public prior to this meeting. Just to give a quick highlight about the objectives and initiatives that you should certainly draw your attention to as being new are Effective Government and Governance Objective 1, Initiative 1, Objective 1 and Initiative 3 under Effective Government and Governance, Objective 2, Initiative 1 under Effective Government and Governance, and Objective 2, Initiative 2 under the same. Under Safety and Security, Objective 3, Initiative 3. Under Economic Vitality, Objective 2, Initiative 2, and Objective 2, Initiative 3, as well as Objective 3, Initiative 2. Under Preserving Character, Objective 1, Initiative 1. Under Quality of Life, Objective 3, Initiative 2. So without reading the entire document in public tonight, those are the main objectives and initiatives you should draw your attention to as being new to the strategic plan. All the remaining ones are in progress and remain in the plan moving forward. Each town department has developed a departmental strategic plan to support the implementation of the town strategic plan. The town is committed to transparency and will report on our successes and shortcomings as we have been doing annually on the town website. So anyone who wants to review the strategic plan can find it on our town website. Anyone who wants to see the strategic plan report card can also find that annually on our website and see the progress that we are making on the various objectives and initiatives that are identified in the plan. The recommendation this evening is to adopt the 2025 to 2029 Town of Fuquay-Varina Strategic Plan as presented and recommended. I want to give acknowledgement to our department directors, Mark Matthews, our Assistant Town Manager, who has had a tremendous amount of oversight and time related to our strategic plan, as well as Jim Seymour, Assistant Town Manager, and certainly the Town Board for setting the tone and the vision for this plan at your annual strategic planning retreat. Happy to answer any questions that the board might have. Otherwise, the recommendation stands before you.
Thank you, Manager. A lot of hard work's going on with staff on this plan from a bunch of direction from the board at previous retreat and meetings with that. I mean, our core values continue to be what are the priorities in Fuquay-Varina right here, and I think these core values, along with the direction each of them goes, and be able to check off these definitely are top 6 priorities of our community right there. They're broad, in a good way, broad, because so much of this area is important within our community. I know also in conversations with you that part of the importance of having an updated strategic plan and even having a strategic plan is that so all departments know the direction they're going, but also from a grant standpoint, to be successful in grants, the grant agencies and other areas of government want to see that we have an idea.
That's right. We have a plan in place. That's exactly right.
Plan in place.
Yes, sir.
That's right there. Any questions or comments by board members? If not, we can entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say just thank you to our management and directors for sure. They definitely listened to us as our town board retreat, took it back to the directors to. It's also a good way of giving our citizens a roadmap to where we're trying to take the town in future years. So definitely thank y'all for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Got a motion?
So move.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, let's get us some more grant money and get these projects done. Y'all did a good job on the previous years.
Yes, sir.
Next administrative report, item 10B, lease of county property, Willis Spring, Future Town Park, 7069 Kennebec Road. More information will be presented by Assistant Town Manager Matthews.
All right.
All right, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Excited to be standing before you tonight on a piece of property that we've discussed before. It's been a long time coming. Town staff are recommending tonight that you approve a 40-year lease with a 20-year extension option for Wake County property, which is historically Wake County Park property located adjacent to Willow Springs Elementary School. The lease would be at the cost of $1 per year, which Jonathan has told me he can absorb within his budget.
Good.
The 19.3 acre tract was previously used for softball and in recent years was used more for a farm lease. And the town is assuming county joint use agreement responsibilities and will commence design for a town park, including playfields and other amenities. You may recall last December we brought before you joint use agreements for the joint use area of Willow Springs Elementary School as well as Fuquay-Varina Elementary School, and approved that contingent on conveyance of this property by Wake County. The town CIP during the budget process did identify design funding to start this fiscal year as well as construction to commence in fiscal year 2028. This lease has been approved by the Wake County Board of Commissioners and attorneys have reviewed. And just as a reminder how this property conveyance is a win-win-win, Wake County has been able to transfer responsibility for maintaining some parks to the town so it can focus on investing in county parks and natural open spaces. The town is going to gain control over an unimproved park adjacent to Willow Springs Elementary, allowing the town to develop that, provide athletic fields, to achieve many of your strategic plan goals. And Wake County Board of Education will benefit from, they have benefited in town assistance and abandonment of public right-of-way needed for the Fuquay-Varina Elementary School project, but also by the synergies of co-planning parks in conjunction with schools and the level of maintenance the town provides. So we're pleased to recommend tonight by motion to approve a lease agreement with Wake County pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A 274 of Wake County, PIN number 067-7907-665, subject to town attorney review as to form. This agenda abstract is entered into the official record along with supporting materials. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions right here yet? Mark, I'd tell you that this is a piece of property we started talking about, or I think maybe staff even identified it to the board a year ago, probably a little bit over a year ago, and you quickly came back as fast as possible to give us opportunity there to be able to expand our park resources, park locations are, as we mentioned earlier about Willow Spring, there's a ton of Fuquay-Varina subdivisions and the corporate limits all over that area right there. And a chance for future ball fields going right here to continue our sports program. And we noticed a competing demand right there. And so appreciate you working hard and your team and bringing this back to us. And ready now for the planning phase to start. And Jonathan will be bringing that here to us at some point. Look forward to seeing some of those fields there, or some of the use there, I should say. Cool. We entertain a motion so moved. Does anybody else have any comments?
So moved. So moved.
Motion, double motions or motion second?
I'll do a second.
Motion and second. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10C, contract award, budget amendment, and project ordinance amendment, Austin Ridge Greenway. More information about agenda item will be presented by Engineering Director Poland. Matt?
Evening, Mayor. Good evening, Town Board. I am submitting this agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. And so the purpose of this agenda item is to approve a budget amendment, a project ordinance amendment in the amount of $700,000 and award a contract to Cardinal Civil Contracting LLC for $1,557,963 to construct the Austin Ridge Greenway project, BL0092. So this project was originally awarded a LAP grant in fiscal year 23-24, and it's approximately 2,400 linear feet. It includes grading and drainage for a greenway trail. There's signage, there's boardwalk, and most importantly, it connects to the trails that are in Bass Lake over there in Holly Springs. The existing Basil Creek Trail, which actually goes all the way down into downtown Holly Springs. So this is actually a really exciting project. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. We did originally bid this project out and only received 2 bids back in May. We re-advertised and received 5 bids on July 24th, with McQueen Construction being the lowest bidder at $1,357,037.88. However, they were deemed as non-responsive because they were not NCDOT pre-qualified at the time of the bid, and so they were essentially disqualified by NCDOT.
What does that mean to be DOT non-responsive, pre-qualified? Is that part of a requirement for us to get our grant money on it?
Yes, sir. You have to be a qualified contractor with DOT in order to bid on these projects, and they were not at the time of the bid.
Not time of the bid, they were not. And that grant, if you refer, well, I'm not getting ahead of yourself. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of you, becoming this momentarily. The grant money that we received is well over $200,000, so it's still worth it to have.
Oh, yes, sir, absolutely.
60%. Okay, go ahead.
And so the second lowest bidder was Cardinal Civil Contracting, again at $1,557,963. We do have a fiscal note. The original grant was for $929,162 at a 60-40 match, and the matching came from our Town and Parks recreation payment in lieu. We still need an additional $700,000 in additional funding to complete this project, and the town has already submitted its request for additional funding from Campo, which would be at a 50-50 match. And so that would be at a $350,000 to $350,000 match once that supplemental agreement comes back in. So, and here's a picture of the Greenway Trail connecting the Austin Ridge subdivision all the way up to the Bass Lake Trails.
Is there any plan to connect Sunset Bluffs to the Greenway?
Not currently, no, sir.
Well, when I say any plan, is there, I guess there's not a plan to fund it, but do we have an idea in the future how we would do that, if we would do that? We just, there's no.
If I could just respond, Sunset Bluffs already has a access path to Bass Lake Trail, so in essence.
It does.
It is connected,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
the public can walk through Sunset Bluffs subdivision. There's a public access back, between two houses, and one of those back houses there. It's a maintained trail that goes all the way back to the Bass Lake, Park Trail. So.
Mike, is that shown right there on Sky Bluff Circle, that trail going back there?
The aerial is,
Either way, I know what you're talking about, and I agree with you.
It is back there. I don't think it's shown on,
Yeah.
as a line on the map, but it does exist.
But I know, I've been on that path. There's an existing path for Sunset Bluffs to get there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Sunset Bluffs residents could get to Bass Lake Trail and then walk that trail to the access point of the Austin Ridge Greenway and get back through the Greenway in that manner.
Would it make sense to have that connection on the town's GIS?
It is not a public greenway as in the sense that it is not maintained by the town. So I just
HOA for the neighborhood, isn't it?
Yeah, the HOA for the neighborhood maintains it. So I had to give some thought about that and circle back with you.
Okay.
All right.
Great resource, you know. The
Main thing was I wanted to make sure the people in the neighborhood
they can
understood where it was.
They do. The people in the neighborhood.
If the HOA is responsible for it, I would assume that that the residents are being made aware that they've got.
The people of Sunset Bluffs are aware that that trail is there. The people of Mill Ridge are aware that trail is there.
Okay.
Surrounding neighborhoods are, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
Okay, and so tonight, recommended motion is to approve a budget amendment BA 2604 in the amount of $700,000 and the corresponding project ordinance amendment POA 2603 and award a contract for the construction of the Austin Ridge Greenway Project BL 0092 to Cardinal Civil Contracting LLC in the amount of $1,557,963 and authorize the town manager to execute the contract on behalf of the town, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. And with that, I would be happy to answer any additional questions.
Matt, my own comment would be this is a, you know, it's a great opportunity. We've been able to leverage funds from the federal government. We got a lot of grant money. Campo, being on the Campo board, we've approved a lot of money for this too. And greenways are the #1 park amenity that our citizens have said that they wanted to see expanded out there. And so this project right here opens up a large amount of residential houses, but also right before, we don't need to lose sight of Austin Ridge Park there, which has a parking lot, so citizens from all over Fuquay-Varina can park there and walk this long Greenway Trail and miles right there. And so citizens will be very excited about this. It's something we've been talking about and working on for a while. I'm glad it's continued to come to fruition.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now for the comments, we enter a motion to move.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10D, Fuquay Avenue and Raleigh Street, ADA roadway improvements. More information about this item will be presented by Engine Director Poland.
I'm submitting this agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to authorize management and staff to proceed with advancing the Fuquay Avenue and Raleigh Street ADA roadway improvements project. So staff is requesting this authorization to proceed with soliciting construction bids for the Fuquay Avenue and Raleigh Street ADA roadway improvements project. This originally was a part of a larger improvement project on South Fuquay Avenue, following several unsuccessful LAP funding applications which were submitted in fiscal year 22 and 23. We actually started to focus and redefine and figure out what was the most essential and cost-effective part of these improvements that we wanted to pursue. And so it's cost-effective improvements specific to improving pedestrian safety. And this was discussed as a priority at the town board retreat. So staff is presenting this project for board consideration as it was not identified in the fiscal year 25-26 budget as a capital project. And so we have identified that we were going to pay for this project with POW bill fund balance, and it will cover the approximately $200,000 of the cost of the project. So once bids are received, town staff will return to the town board with a recommended contract and proposed budget amendment and a project ordinance for consideration at a future meeting.
So, Mr. Mayor, essentially, since this was not a project identified in the approved fiscal year 26 budget, but it was discussed as a priority by the board at retreat, we just want to make sure that the town board still wishes to pursue this project and give us direction to go out for bids on this project now that we have more information about design and cost.
You know, this project right here has been something that has been very important to our downtown master plan and everything going on in this area of our town right here. This intersection is going to be greatly improved from a pedestrian standpoint with this right here. We have the Art Center, as we know, on the lower left-hand corner. That has a lot of people coming in and out of that and needs to have handicap access and easy access, flat sidewalks, to be able to get in and out right there on it. And just as we've heard from the public previously about different sidewalk locations throughout Fuquay-Varina, we continue to invest in multiple locations in town. And not just when people come to our board meetings and make comments, but these have been plans that are in the works right there. And so this makes a huge difference right there. It's a heavily traveled area, and this here is going to continue to be an asset, and I think it's going to be well received by our citizens in town, not just for the Art Center, but for all of Fuquay Avenue and Raleigh Street and the entire area right there. It's really been continuing to be revitalized. The park that's back behind it, I know Jonathan's team's going through a master plan right now of that park also at the same time, and so these crosswalks will make a huge benefit, huge impact here in our community. I assume nobody's against this. Okay, let's entertain a motion to move ahead, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
There we go. Motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we do get stuff done, not just when people come to meetings and come up with ideas, right?
That's right.
It's
We get
pretty
it done.
impressive. All right, other business. Item 11A, manager's report.
Just a few things to bring to your attention in addition to the items that are on the agenda. We had a great ice cream social since our last board meeting. It was well attended. I think the community really enjoyed it, and it was good fellowship at the Fuquay Mineral Spring Park. So I want to again thank our Parks and Recreation staff, our fire department staff, our public works staff, all those that were involved, and police department, all those that were involved in helping to make that event a successful event once again for our community. It's always nice to have a little cool treat when it's 105 degrees outside. So it wasn't that hot that day, but we've had some hot days, and so it's a nice event that we have for our community here. I do want to just also bring to your attention, we've had some, I won't say recent because we've gotten pretty good at it as of late, but some continued success in our social media outreach to our community. Some that you could even say has gone viral. Susan Weiss here is our communications director, and as you know, her assistant in the communications department is Alex Bauman, and Alex was challenged this year by Susan to get creative on Instagram Reels, one way to reach out to the community through a video clip. And some of our reels as of recent have had some great success. Her latest reel features the police department medicine drop box. I'm not sure if you've seen this or not on social media, but it's been viewed, I believe, close to almost 60,000 times on Instagram and 50,000 times on Facebook since it was posted. Now, these are big numbers on social media. You think about hundreds of views on social media still being pretty good, but when you start to get into the tens of thousands of views, those are big numbers. Additionally, Alex worked with the fire department to feature the smoke detector program. It had over 25,000 views on the smoke detector. So we're reaching out to the community in different ways, creative ways, to educate them on the ways that they can be safe in their community and how that they can be a part and integrate into the community. And these reels seem to be working in terms of reaching the broader part of our community and even outside of our community. So I want to say a job well done to Alex and to Susan in the communications department for thinking creatively and thinking about different ways to communicate. Just some other statistics. Recently, we had an announcement about Wake Med getting their certificate of need for a healthplex and emergency department. We did that post on our town's social media. It was viewed close to 80,000 times on Facebook since we made that post this past weekend, and over close to 10,000 views on Instagram. I mentioned the Fuquay-Varina Medicine Dropbox. Gabe Briley recently was honored as a Man of the Year, and we made that post on our Facebook page, and it was viewed just short of 50,000 times so far on our Facebook page. Numerous likes and numerous comments. Of course, the community tends to wrap their arms around Gabe Briley. He's been a long staple here in our community and well-liked.
Can't blame him. He's a good man.
That's right. Well-liked in our community. And so just finding a lot of success here recently with our social media efforts, and we'll continue to be thinking creatively on how we can reach our community in different ways. But I wanted to share that with the board this evening. We are, as we do year-round, but here recently, certainly, our staff has been giving some focus towards maintenance of our downtown streetscape and public areas in our downtown. We want our downtown to continue to thrive and be looking as clean and crisp as possible. And so I want to just thank our staff for taking the initiative and the efforts to go out there, identify areas for improvement, and begin chipping away at those. So we'll continue to do that the remainder of the year, obviously, and over the next several weeks, certainly. As we gear up for our Celebrate Fuquay-Varina Festival, that's when we want to make sure we're shining the best. I also just want to draw attention to our fall youth sports data. Some new numbers have come in on that. Youth sports is up. Participation is up. And I thought that one of the more telling numbers was one that Jonathan, our Parks and Rec director, just recently provided. Fuquay-Varina's program, youth sports program, is 71% larger than Apex. And Apex is the second largest program in Wake County. Our youth sports is the largest program in Wake County. Our annual participation for fiscal year 25 in youth sports, 10,603 participants. Apex, 6,214, Cary, 4,424, Holly Springs, 5,500-ish, Raleigh, 4,600. So even combined, we're outpacing many of our peer communities here. We run a professional program. We run a fair program. We run a program that is geared towards learning and towards fun. And that's a big part of our success. That's why a lot of our citizens and people from outside of our community seek out Fuquay-Varina youth sports to participate and put their kids in. That and the fact that we have nice facilities, we maintain our facilities, we invest in our facilities. You as a board make it a point to allocate resources towards our facility, whether it's ball fields, baseball fields, soccer fields, basketball courts, volleyball courts, tennis courts, the whole 9 yards. We're continuing to invest and make improvements, and it's noticed. And I just want to recognize our Parks and Rec staff, our director and our staff for the great work that's being done. It's being shown in the numbers. The numbers don't lie, and that's why we're the leader of the pack when it comes to parks and recreation and youth sports. So I want to mention that. Other than that, we've been doing a lot of end-of-year closeout work, as you can imagine, with grants and with financial responsibilities for reporting. We're in audit season beginning, so that is ramping up, and we're staying busy in that regard. In addition, you have some information within your agenda packets. National Night Out Against Crime is, it moved on me there. National Night Out Against Crime is tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. at the police department. So we encourage the community to come out. We got a lot of events. It's going to be a great afternoon, full of fun and building relationships in our community with our police department. That's what it's all about, is getting to know your local police department, the law enforcement officers, and building those relationships and friendships. So we hope the community will take advantage of that and come out in full force tomorrow for National Night Out Against Crime. Additionally, we have an event, Grillin' and Chillin' in the Park. This will be on Sunday, August 17th at Fleming Loop Park. This is sort of a newly rebranded event that we do for book bag giveaway, the beginning of the fall school year. But we want the community to come out for that from 2 to 4, grill and chill a little bit with our local police department. We do have the fall Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina concert series kicking back up Thursday, September 4th. The Band of Oz is going to be in Fuquay-Varina to kick off the fall series. This is 6:30 to 9:30 at Centennial Park. And then we have the International Festival at the Fuquay-Varina Arts Center on September 13th from 11 to 3 p.m. With that, Mr. Mayor and Board, I don't have any additional comments to make this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Manager, for those updates right there. Commissioner Harris, any comments?
No comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Adcock, any comments?
I just want to follow up. The manager educated me tonight. I had no idea that our Rec Sports League was the largest in Wake County, and I think that is really, really awesome. I think, people look at Fuquay-Varina as a family-friendly town, and one of the things that I think we need to be doing is focusing on the kids and providing opportunities for them. And I also think for the adults, that just for everybody, it makes people, when people talk about the small town feel and really buying into the community where they live, sports is one way that we can do that. Jonathan, I want to say thank you to you. I think you've overseen this program go from start to where we are now, and I am amazed at what a great job you have done, and again, to have the largest rec sports program in Wake County is pretty unbelievable. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well said, Commissioner Adcock. Commissioner Watch.
I was just going to echo what Commissioner Adcock said. That's amazing. And to be 71% ahead of Apex, I had no idea. I mean, I knew we had a big program, but I didn't realize it was that big. But like Commissioner Adcock said, I think it reflects on the management and staff that we have in our town, like Jonathan and Anthony, and getting to be on the Parks Advisory Board for a couple of years, and getting to just be a commissioner and see all the good work that happens every single day. It's no surprise that it's that big and that successful, but I had no idea. That's a really exciting thing to know, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Watch. Commissioner Haynes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's been busy lately. First, I just want to thank all the organizations, the community, the members, and everybody who supported feeding our kids all summer. We had 3 sites going on this summer, and it took a lot of volunteers, a lot of work, a lot of planning, as well as our definitely want to thank our staff from Fuquay-Varina High School who was where all the food was cooked every day for our youth. So it was greatly appreciated from so many families, and I heard that many times, as well as we made sure that at all these sites, for the most part, that that all the kids, even though they left on Friday and had meals on Friday, we packed them a goodie bag every Friday to make sure they had food until we saw them again on Monday. So that took a lot of different organizations, businesses, and support from all the community to make this happen. So I just want to really thank the community, the town of Fuquay-Varina as a whole, just for helping make that initiative happen. And we're going to keep doing it every year, so definitely thank you for that. I want to applaud the Parks and Rec Department definitely for their planning of the ice cream social. I remember last year that Pelican Ice had a fight with the bees last year. So they were able to move them up on higher ground this time, and they were able to avoid all the bees. So that was a great, and I think it kept a little flow all the way through the park instead of it being jam-packed in one area. So definitely want to thank the planning for that. Since our last meeting, I was able to attend our North Carolina League, the National League of Cities Summer Board Conference. I am honored to sit on the Community Economic Development Federal Advocacy Committee. So we worked along with commissioners and mayors from all over the country planning federal advocacy stuff that we will take to Capitol Hill to make sure that our local municipalities are seen and heard at a federal level. It's a nonpartisan committee, which is great, so it's a lot of ideas were brought to the table. So I think we have some initiatives that we can take to Capitol Hill to make sure that our small cities and towns are heard at the federal level. So I definitely think that, as well as I was also appointed to the board of directors of our minority elected municipal officials conference since our last meeting as well, to a 2-year board of directors appointment, and this is an affiliate of the North Carolina League of Municipalities. So definitely it's been busy, but it's been rewarding to be able to represent the town of Fuquay-Varina at the state as well as the federal level. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Commissioner Haynes. And you cook some of that food too you're talking about. I know you're a good cook.
Yeah, come see me. I'll be on the grill for grilling and chilling, so come see me at the grill.
I know that's right. Commissioner Haynes always cooks good food. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner, any comments?
No, just I'm really excited to hear this news about our youth sports programs. My granddaughter, of course, they've moved from Fuquay-Varina now, but she started volleyball in our town volleyball league when she was maybe in the 5th grade, and she just made the high school varsity volleyball team at Hoggard High School in Wilmington. So she got her start right here in Fuquay in our sports program. So I'm glad to see so many young people getting those opportunities here.
That's right. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. A few comments. Some of these notes have been hit on. Ice Cream Social was a very successful event. I think it was a good layout way it was set up this year, and a lot of positive comments in the community. All departments did a very, very good job that were involved in working on that, and the bees did stay away, and that helped out things too. And the ice cream was very good, and it did not rain, so that was a good day. But all around, staff did a very, very good job on that. Tomorrow night is National Night Out. Manager mentioned that earlier. It'll be a great turnout there for that tomorrow, Chief, and it's a great community awareness event, and so I know it'll be a great turnout for the community, and look forward to being there and enjoying that very much tomorrow night. Got to swear in a new police officer last week it was, and so those of you will be getting to meet this new officer in the community. Well, nice young man right there, and so glad to have him a part of our team. It's been a lot of ribbon cuttings over the past 2 weeks. We've got a lot of new businesses and new opportunities that are opening in Fuquay-Varina. Encourage you to check some of these new ones out. And we're glad that they're here in Fuquay-Varina. The Chamber continues to do a good job of recognizing those businesses right there. In regards to Wake Med, I know myself and the manager and the 2 chiefs went to the state of North Carolina to advocate for the certificate of need. And so, being that now it's been announced that we officially have the emergency room located here. We know it's going to be a great resource for all of our citizens right there. And so I appreciate the 3 of y'all going with me there, and the 4 of us advocating right there, because I do know that made a difference in getting it here in Fuquay-Varina. And so we're glad to have that, and it's been nothing but positivity from the citizens right there. Anytime we can have a great resource, that's our population, our numbers justify it, and that's where we're seeing all these new medical headwinds and new opportunities coming right here in Fuquay-Varina. So thank y'all for your hard work right there and helping with that. And as we said, people continue to move here. Now, youth sports is extremely busy. Our goal is never to have any youth sports needing that emergency room right there by any means, but it is great that we have an extremely large amount of participation right here in our town. I do believe those programs continue to grow, and hear very many positive comments on there. I know sometimes we get caught up in emails with somebody with a complaint or such on there, but overall, it is very positive, and staff has done an incredible good job, and the citizens enjoy those youth sports programs right there, and I think it's shown by participation, because if your team was not doing a good job there, Mark and Jonathan, that people would not be signing up. They go look for somewhere else, and since you're continually full, that tells you you're doing a great job right there, and so look forward to it. Soccer, in fact, starts for my family this week on practices, and so we'll be at practices also and doing that, and so look forward to that very much right there on that. Thank you everybody on our town team here for the hard work that you've done. Manager, I believe there's no closed session tonight, is that correct?
No closed session recommended this evening.
All right, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.